no sienten mi pena. Nadie nos dará gobierno, majestad. La necesidad es ajena, no sienten mi pena. Allá donde no había, no solicito permiso para la vida. Soy rica en esperanzas y de reto no me niego. Le daré vista hasta el más ciego. Soy rica en esperanzas y de reto no me niego. Estoy aquí, estoy aquí. Y de reto no me niego. Estoy aquí, estoy aquí. Estoy aquí, estoy aquí. Yo veré, no me encierro. Estoy aquí, estoy aquí. Conocí, siempre hay manera. No más necesito un terrenito, una parcela. Hay bastantes, sobran ejidos robados y prestados. El vivo sigue de pie, no como el muerto acostado. Ay, esas cumbres, como brillan, llamando la atención. A través del mundo aumentan los hogares de la mina y carbón. Allá donde no había, no solicito permiso para la vida. Soy rica en esperanzas y de reto no me niego. Le daré vista hasta el más ciego. Soy rica en esperanzas y de reto no me niego. Estoy aquí, estoy aquí. Y de reto no me niego. Estoy aquí, estoy aquí. Estoy aquí. Yo veré, no me encierro. Estoy aquí, estoy aquí. Ahí está con Sosadía. Estoy aquí. Llevarnos fuerte, lancear. Estoy aquí. Clave que lleve la vida. Bajo un sudor mexicano. Over mountains, over cerros, over desert valleys. From the ranchos to the towns, to the city alleys. Coming ones, coming twos, Texas, get to Cali. People walking, running, crawling, border tallies. Men, boys, women, girls, young, old, skinny, fatty. Hold their elders, hold their hopes, hold their little babies. No food, no means, no way to have it. Run, stumble, fall, get back up and at it. Yeah, make the plan, pay the man, truck it, walk it, run it. Under moon, under radar, make the dash and gun it. Touching down, get to town, washing, working, mowing. Taking heat, filling needs, sending line and knowing that you need your black reap has a present sowing. Other ties, US lies, co and tell and throwing. The more they come, they'll challenge, that's a law and knowing. What is seen, what it's holding, there is no destroying. And soaring through the sky. Bright light of day, easy night, the city sways deep into night. No moment gone, there is no rest. Constellations, mapping dreams, predicting situations, arriving to an end, beginning once again, twilight or a dawn. You have a balance and then it's gone. Whatever your belief, God, Spirit, Jehovah, Allah, particles or dense electrons, rays of hope are soaring through the sky. Bright light of day, bodies ignite, the seeds ignite. No moment gone, there is no rest. As people live to witness my life. One fire, one life, sweet one fire, one life, one fire, rest, one life, around and witness. A shift, a move, a surge, we feel all and manifest. Slide from uncertainty and lunge into intense. Interminable imaginaries guided by ancestor strength. Abide by no one's governance. We below into the left more. We see more. Whose life is this for? Global affinities we work within our trenches.
welcome to Trek Table, your Sunday weekly podcast holding Trek space for
Black, Indigenous, Brown,
women of color.
queer or otherwise.
and our allies. Awesome. What's up, everybody? I am your host, Dayla, and today I am holding Trek space for all of the Michael Burnham fans, Discovery fans, the Dr. Hugh Colbert fans, the all of the fans who are waiting for the start of season 4. I'm holding it for you. We're almost there.
I am your co host, Claudia, and today I am holding Trek Space for the pleasure of anticipation.
Ooh, I love it. Hi, I'm your co host, Maya, and I'm holding Trek Space for what is next, what is new, and I can't wait. I can't wait. It's next week.
Yes, yes.
Um, but I'd like to say just welcome to Trek Table. We start by acknowledging that our teams for Trek Table are on the unceded lands of the Tongva, Chumash, Quiche, Ohlone, Puyallup, Pawtucket, and Massachusetts people. We are grateful to the Indigenous stewards of these lands, the ancestors who have come before, those who are here now, and those who have yet to come. I invite our listeners and our viewers to be an acknowledgement of the lands that you are on. If you could, we could just take a deep breath to take in all those acknowledgments. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Maya, for helping us with our land acknowledgement. We want to say welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining us today as we hold Trek Space for Women of Color here in front of our live digital audience on the Outside In YouTube channel. What's up, Outside In Theater? Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. We want to say what's up to everybody who's listening to us on the podcast. We're so happy that you've joined us. Hey, everyone. And as we record this episode today, 11/14/21, we also that we are recording this during Native American History Month and honor that we continue to be in support and stewardship of our Indigenous peoples here and around the globe.
Our opening track for this episode is titled Chicana Skies by the band Quetzal off their album Quetzal. You'll be hearing several tracks by Quetzal throughout this episode of Trek Table. Follow them at Quetzal Music on Instagram and see our show notes or the chat for a link to their merchandise and more.
Yes. Quetzal's been doing a lot this season, so we're excited for them. Thanks to them for their support. We want to welcome everybody to this episode 32 of the Trek Table. We've only been creating episodes live for distribution in the year 2021, so we are so excited that we're at 32 episodes, and today is our very first hype show. We are so excited to think about, talk about, prep for Star Trek Discovery Season 4, which, if you haven't heard yet, comes out on Paramount Plus on 11/18/21. So that's this coming Thursday as we record. We hope that you are having a good time. We've missed being on air. We were on a little bit of a hiatus, but it's great to be back. We've got an amazing season coming. We're super excited. Trek Table is actually on the CBS distribution list, so we're excited. We're going to be able to bring you our thoughts and feelings to this new season as it comes out. So we're super excited about that. But today, this episode is about us hyping and sharing our hopes, maybe some of our predictions about what we think is going to go down on season 4 of Star Trek Discovery. We're going to talk about some of our favorite characters, like what's up with Michael, where's Grudge, how's Book. Maybe we're going to ask about what's happening with Space Poppy Dr. C. Oh, and then what's up with his boo Stamets and their little found family thing. And has Stamets gotten over that whole, no, you can't save your family thing? End of season 3. Super intense, super intense.
Yes. And if you are happy that, as we are, that Trek Table has been holding this space for Disco and for other Trek fans, we want to invite you to share that joy with us and become a supporter of this little podcast that could. Patreon.com/Trek Table. So please, if you like the work that we're doing, support us, give us some love, and we're that little big now podcast that could. We've been doing some things.
We are so glad that you're joining this Black, Indigenous, women of color Trek conversation. Hello and welcome. Now, so we can enter this space with each other and build with each other. We are curious about how you are entering this conversation. Are you, as a Star Trek fan, do you identify as Star Trek curious? Are you a newbie? Are you an OG, an old school Trekkie? Are you a Star Trekking family? Star Trek femme, Trek zaddy, Trek baby? Just let us know in the chat.
Awesome. And welcome back to today's episode of Trek Table, episode 32. Here, we're going to explore Star Trek Discovery Season 4. This is our hype show. And we're going to do this in a couple of different ways. The ways that we do here at the Trek Table. We're going to have some Trek Table questions. Thank you, Claudia. We're so excited about that. Instead of popcorn recaps, we're going to do some disco recaps, and we'll explain that to you. We've got hope or hype for our characters today. We're also going to dive deep into some thematics and think a little bit about plot, themes, and all of the design things we're excited about. We'll have some of our final thoughts before we get into season 4. And of course, we're going to share some gratitude. We're so excited that you're all here. And as we continue this practice, as we get back into this practice, we've been off a couple of weeks. We just want to remind everybody, when you come into the Trek Table, we want to kind of know, who are you? How do you get here? We want to know who we're talking with. So I'm going to ask the folks assembled here at the Trek Table today to go around and share your check-in. Give us your name, your pronouns, a visual description, any access check-in that you might have today. And then finally, as we asked right before the break, how do you enter as a Star Trek fan? Not because we're trying to keep you out, but because we want to welcome you all in. We want to know who we are talking to. So that's what's up. We're so glad you're here. Put it in the chat. Claudia, can I ask you to go first? You invited us before the chat to tell us how we identify.
Yes, and I'm just so grateful to this entire show for giving me so many different ways to identify as a Star Trek fan. I love our growing vocabulary list that those of you in the chat are helping us to grow. My name is Claudia. My gender pronouns are they, their, she, hers. Visual description, I'm an African American woman with a big afro, wearing a disco t-shirt, sitting on a virtual the original deck of the Star Trek Enterprise. I identify, oh, I should give you my access check-in. My access check-in is that I am disabled. I have a physical disability, and that means that sometimes I'm going to be having a pain flare while I'm talking about something I love. So you might see me pull an ugly face. I'm never having an ugly idea about you, just having one of my muscles pull my body. Other than that, all of my access needs are met. And I identify as a generational Star Trek lover. It was introduced to me aggressively by my mother, and I have been keeping that tradition alive and making sure all the nieces and nephews know to love the show.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Claudia. Maya, welcome. Can I ask you to go ahead and check in?
Yes, hello. I'm just here in the med bay with Dr. Culver at my side. My co-pilot Chorizo barking in the background. I am Maya. Go by she, her, her pronouns. I'm a Guatemalan mestiza, and today I am wearing a ponytail, straight ponytail, magenta purplish hair. Feeling it's kind of a nod to a lot of Star Trek hairstyles, but especially JoJo. Her ponytails were on point last season 3. And I identify as pretty solidly Star Trek femme these days. I got back into Star Trek season 3 Discovery, and then we went backwards, and just really being able to dig into Star Trek and all the pop culture references that I realized I already knew, because Star Trek is so it's just been in our kind of like popular imagination for a long time. I did watch a little bit of the I'm very familiar with more Next Generation, so Wesley Crusher, Beverly Crusher, Deanna Troi, Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, just yeah, I realized how much I had actually watched, and I didn't realize that until I came back into this newer version of Star Trek. So I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So glad to have you both. Thank you so much. I will finish check-ins. Hi everybody. I'm Dayla and my pronouns are she, he, they, and Dayla. I am a mixed Filipinx person. I've got my hair. I'm trying to show this blue going on in my hair, and I just feel like the camera never quite picks it up the way I want. But I'm letting this blue move through my hair. I am sitting in front of visually a hallway on the USS Discovery because we love hallway talks on the Discovery. And I am definitely a Star Trek fan, Trekkie, Trekhead as I identify from back in the day, watching reruns of original series, but certainly my first kind of captured imaginative moment was with Next Generation. I am definitely sci-fi poly, loving a lot of the things. Excited. I haven't even been able to jump into new things because right now my primary focus has been Star Trek Discovery. I'm so in a poly situation where there might be hierarchy, primary, secondary, tertiary, disco is my primary partner right now. So I'm just saying, that's all the things. And my access check-in is my back's been hurting a little, and I keep jumping around in my chair because I'm so excited. So forgive me if you hear noises around and things from this freeway that's nearby outside my window. So it's a little bit about the noises coming from my space. But that's me. So thank you so much for all three of us checking in. We're about to jump into this final bit of business before we actually jump into our discussions, because here at the Trek table, we want to name our agreements. We welcome all who enter, whether you are a newbie or you were raised in a generational Trek family like Claudia, welcome. Let's build this space together.
Whether you use Trek Table as your nerdy exploration or as a part of your self-care ritual, Trek Table is a weekly space to put down the world for a second and come into Trek space.
This is a space for Black, Brown, Indigenous, women of color to be a fan, a geek, a nerd, and explore the vastness of the Star Trek multiverse.
Yes, Trek Table is also a place for our allies to come, engage, and explore as well. This is an opportunity for us as allies and to be allies to each other and to hold space and focus on the insights, perspectives, and experiences that we may not be familiar with.
And now that we are all here, we remind you that we seek to build an environment of mutual respect and listening. We understand we'll disagree, and that's actually part of the fun. But there's enough hate going on in the world. We don't want none of that here. So keep your phasers on stun.
Yes, yes. And with all those agreements being what they are, we want to invite those of you gathered in the chat, those of you watching us live on the Outside In YouTube channel, maybe on the Trek Table channel, or if you've tuned into the podcast. This is the part of the show where we all take our ritual breath together. Go ahead and plant your feet flat on the floor and go ahead and just breathe all those agreements in. Go ahead, take a breath in and exhale. Thank you.
And here we go with our Trek Table questions that are posed to our Trek Table assembled here and to those who are participating today in our Outside In YouTube channel chat. Here's our first question. What Trek species are you excited to see in season 4? Because y'all, they got a character who may be like part Bajoran, part human, part Cardassian. This is exciting. What unimagined mix might you imagine?
Mira que regresa el maldito. Viene con las manos llenitas de piedra que no quiere arrojar.
All right, so we are back here with our first Trek Table question for season 4 for our hype show, and that is, what Star Trek species are you most excited to see in season 4? Keep in mind that this is the future. There might be wild mixes of species. This is exciting. I'm gonna start with you, Maya. What are you excited about? What you excited about?
Well, I know for sure, as now that I closely watched the first 3 seasons, that there's going to be new species, I'm sure. Like you said, we got a little taste of that. I mean, I just feel like weren't the Kelpians, they were brand new, right? To were the Zahians brand new? I wasn't sure
Yes,
about
the
that.
Zahians are
Yeah,
brand
right.
new.
So I feel like I become more on the newbie side, that I get excited for 2 things. One is the brand new ones that you all are like, "What's that?" And then the ones that come back from I feel like the Andorians, the Tellurides, and I think I'm missing one too. Like there's like the pig face ones. There's
Orions. Oh, those are the
Orion's.
Tellurides.
Yes, yes. And so those are the ones that keep coming back every time I see like the older versions. And yeah, so I'm just, I like watching everybody else's fun with either um bringing in the old and some of the new.
I'm realizing that I can't help but have spoilers for previous seasons as I'm just really getting excited about season 4 because I'm excited. Like in season 3, they were able to show us an alien from the original Star Trek, and I think they did a really good job of kind of blending the design aesthetics of the 1960s and frankly the design limitations of the 1960s with the amazing things they can pull off today. So I'm excited to possibly see some old school aliens from the original Star Trek that they've like actually manifested in a way where it doesn't look like it's made out of cardboard and string. I'm not mad at the original. I like the aesthetics. I like the theatricality of it. But I'm excited to see what Disco can pull off. How about you, Dela?
Thank you so much. I'm also super excited. I want to say that for folks watching us, the image that's up in our forum right now is, I think this is the new rendering of the Ferengi. Yeah. So there's visual drawing here, but there's also a shot. This Ferengi character is actually witnessed in the trailer, in the big Federation moment. So just excited to see, just like we had a big conversation in season 1 about what the Klingons are looking like in this show, what that looks like. So super excited. I mean, I would say I'm excited about I want, this is not a new species, but I wish I could see a baby Culber, baby Stamets. Like I know we have found family
Oh.
for Adira and Gray, and in a found family way there, of course, mini Stamets, mini Culber, but
We can have this. This can happen. There was an entire episode on the Next Generation where a transporter accident made them all tiny tots. There was a tiny Guinan, a tiny Lieutenant Rowe, a little tiny baby Picard. You can have your dreams, I
Mhm.
bet.
I love it. So
Wow.
that's what I would do. And then I'm really curious about this human Cardassian Bajoran president of the Federation that we're about to see.
Yeah, and
So,
can I bring in
mhm.
Satterfield H in the chat? Hi,
Yeah.
good to
Hi,
see you here.
Satterfield.
Um, they're saying that maybe even a race we haven't seen before that wasn't warp capable, but then over the years has become so, might be a nice throwback. So, but can't think of
Yeah.
specific one. But yeah, that'll be interesting, right? Because we're dealing
Right.
with uh, is it like 1,000? How far in it? Like
We
900
jump
years in the future?
930 years into the future.
Mm-hmm.
So 3188. And I will just say we could see Non's planet Barzon, right? She went back to Barzon after being on the seed vault, so we might get to see what Barzon looks like and that whole environment. Yeah, super, and then just Discovery's about to jump all over the galaxy, all over the universes. So who knows where we're about to go?
I'm realizing this particular question is evergreen, and it could be the entire episode. And there are other
Mm.
aspects that we should probably get hyped about. So I'm going to bring Trek Table question number 1 to a close.
And Trek Table is proud to be a part of the digital theater platform at Outside In Theater. So like and subscribe over there too, Outside In YouTube channel for our weekly live digital recordings. Listening on the podcast, check it out, youtube.com/Outside In Theater. All one word.
And with that song Matanzas by the band Quetzal, we know that it's time for our popcorn recap. But because this is our special season 4 hype show, we thought we would do a Discovery recap or a Discovery hype show. So we've changed the game. The game today is simple. At different points in the show, each of us is going to get 1 minute to share how we hype Discovery or catch up newbies or old school Trekkies. Each of us is going to get 1 minute to share our own disco recap or disco hype. And maybe also continue to encourage our friends who are non disco fans. Why should they watch disco? So each of us has our own take. We're going to split this out throughout the show. Maya Chinchilla, I'm going to ask you to go first. Go ahead and take your breath. Brandon, can we have 1 minute on that timer, please?
Incoming transmission.
Okay. All right. Of course, I mean, what drew me in was Wilson Cruz. Anybody who knows Wilson Cruz is like, what? Wilson Cruz is on that show? I'm gonna watch that show. Okay, so that's one point of connection. I mean, I've also just I tell them how exciting all the new series are, like Picard and Lower Decks, and I just watched a couple of the first two episodes of Prodigy. That was super fun. I mean, it's fun. You can jump in at any direction. I tell them I started with season 3. Also, Tig Notaro, super fun and funny every time she's on screen. Women of color leadership. Now we finally have a Black woman captain. We have all these new species. The fashion. It's like a space novela. Sometimes I'll tell people like it's if you like maybe Grey's Anatomy, you want it to be set in space, maybe it's something like that, or you just like sci-fi and you need something to watch. We've been living our own version of a science fiction pandemic here, so I suggest it to everyone.
Like they aren't showing my face, and it's because I can't stop laughing. Thank you, Maya. That was an excellent, excellent job. And that makes me want to watch this show. If you are having a good time like we are, let's keep this dialogue going. Like and follow us on Instagram at Trek Table and on Twitter at Trek_Table.
Awesome, and welcome back to the Trek Table, episode 32, as we hype season 4 of Star Trek Discovery. This next segment is a brand new one we've come up for this episode. We want to talk about all the different characters. There's so many awesome folks in this ensemble, so many people we're caring about over 3 seasons. So this is how we're going to do it. We're each going to take a second, and we'll go through this lineup of characters and pass off to each other as we each share a hope or a hype for our favorite Star Trek Discovery characters. Claudia, I'm going to ask you to go first. Could you please give us some hope or some hype about Ensign Sylvia Tilly?
Oh, all right. So Tilly is a fan favorite. Everybody loves Tilly. If you don't like Tilly, you will have folks like attack you on the internet, right? Tilly is so cute and adorable and sweet and nice and smart. And we've been seeing Tilly try to become a leader and work towards this leadership her entire time, right? So I'm excited to not only see Tilly really, really step into being a leader, not being somebody who wants to be a leader. I'm also excited to see Dark Tilly. Y'all know we're ready for it. We're in season 4. There's going to be at least one episode. There might even be an episode arc where Tilly goes dark. Tilly has a drug addiction. I don't know what it is, but something's going to happen with Tilly, and I'm excited for it. I am here for it.
I love
Maya,
it.
do you have any? I would love to hear your hopes or hypes for Saru.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Saru go through quite a journey with his, Kelpian puberty, hot flashes and making it
Baharai.
through that. And now he's super strong and his fear is by the wayside. He's shown a lot of leadership skills as well as fabulous walking down the hallway with those long, beautiful arms. But at the end, he decided to go back with his little Kelpian little boo, little kid that had caused the burn with his screams and wanted to was it Sukal?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to show some more leadership on his own planet that now that he's found that Kelpians did indeed survive to this time period. He's shown a lot of leadership, but also I particularly am just thinking, last season we had Burnham come back and she's like, I'm not ready to jump back into the captain's chair. Now she's in the captain's chair. Saru has experienced the captain's chair. I think he's going to do a little something different. Maybe he's going to. I'm hoping for a different outfit. And yeah, when we finally see him, I think it's going to be fun.
Awesome.
And let's see. How about Dela? Why don't you tell us your hopes and dreams about Book?
Yes, Cleveland Booker, aka Book. My first big hope is that Book is going to tell us the story of how he got his name, who his mentor was. This was a promise in season 3 when he turns to Michael and says, "If we get out of this alive, I'm about to tell you a story." So yes, bruh, story time. Waiting for it. Excited about it. What's up with the Quajon family and how does that go? Do we get to see your brother and your nephew? Are you going back to Sanctuary 4? Would love to see, just really excited to see Book put his hands in the micro gel and get his little manicure and empath space jumps on. So super excited about that. And of course, still wondering about Book and Michael and all that business and their little family with Grudge. So that's my hope and
Aw.
hypes for for Cleveland Booker, and super excited and curious about his uniform because he's not in Starfleet, but he's like driving the ship. And so what's his uniform all about? So all those things. And I brought up Grudge because I want to know, Claudia, what is your hope or hype for Grudge this season? Like, come on now. The Star
I,
Trek.
I have I have grudge desires. I have heavy grudge desires. Star Trek showrunners, you better be taking notes. So, Grudge, I would love for Grudge to be sentient. I feel like there's a lot of like we need to hear stories from Grudge. I need not only backstory from Grudge, I want so much backstory for Grudge that I get a spin-off that's just about Grudge. That's how hardcore I need more Grudge content. There's an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where Data does this amazing poem about his cat. Where is the discovery poetry about Grudge? So these are some of my hopes that I hope are fulfilled in season 4 of Star Trek Discovery about the character Grudge the cat. Maya, I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the character that we all know that you don't really care very much about.
Yes. Can I just add though, every time Booker says that Grudge is a queen, I think she really is a queen. That's what we're gonna find out. Of some sort. Queen of some sort of universe. Inner universe, outer universe. But yes, Dr. Hugh Culber. I'm gonna miss his whites, his medical whites. But maybe, we'll see something new with that. But yeah, I mean, he really sort of stepped into, a kind of counselor, healer position, really, was the first one who was aware that this crew wasn't necessarily okay after their jump into the future and they needed to deal with those things. And yeah, he's become like space daddy figure to the youngins that they're both Stamets and he have sort of adopted. And yeah, I'm excited. They've been giving us lots of clues that we're going to hear a lot more about his backstory. So I'm thinking we're going to hear more about not only diving off the cliffs of Puerto Rico, but maybe some more Puerto Rican soup. But yeah, beyond, maybe his family. Yeah, I mean, it's really important to me because he's Afro Latino in space, and I don't feel like we've gotten enough of those possibilities of Latino-ness in space. So,
Mhm.
but let's see what else. How about Dela? Why don't you tell us about Space Boppy's partner, Stamets?
Yes. Paul Stamets is back again for season 4. A little bit of my hope for him is that he learns how to continue to have big feelings and be okay as a scientist who's used to not having big feelings. Stamets had a big outburst at the end of season 3 when Burnham had to eject him out into the Starfield base. And yeah, so I just want to support. I hope that he's working it out because his husband is there are not only space dads now to these two amazing space teenagers. They're not tweens, they're teenagers. But that also Stamets is about to be the husband to the ship's counselor and doctor. So Dr. Hugh is going to have a lot going on. So yeah, ditto what you said, Maya. And what does it mean for them to be a unit, and how do we get to see them? How do we get to see love and care and transformational partnership in their world? I mean, those are my hopes and desires. So that's what I want to say about that. And I really hope you get over your stuff, because don't be salty all season, because I'd be sad about that. But I get it. He's in the process. He's got lots of feels. Okay, I'm talking a lot. And then I just brought up their queer family. Claudia, thoughts, feelings, hopes, and hypes for Adira Tall this season.
Space teens, Adira Tall. I am deeply, deeply excited about all of the story possibilities for Adira Tall. I'm also deeply excited about Adira Tall's new haircut. Check it out. I think you will approve when you see it. But Adira Tall is a trill. It has all of these past lives. I just did a full rewatch of DS9 and was really excited to see so many Jadzia Dax stories that made me really just meditate on identity and what it is to be a person. But also, it lets you have a lot of weird things from the past come up because Adira Tall is actually she's Adira Tall's a space teen and is also really ancient. I look forward to all of that. Maya, could you talk to us about another character whose hair I love? Detmer with like this cool side cut.
Yes, that undercut kind of nod, but yeah, that also reveals um her metal addition that helps her see, right? But she's been a badass pilot, you know. She's had to get them in and out of all kinds of places, and yeah, she's just been piloting right her way right into our hearts. I wonder if she's ever gonna get to go on an away mission. That's my question. But yes, more longing looks with other people on the deck is also what I'm predicting. Lots of teamwork. And speaking of which, Dela, can you tell us about Owosukun?
I love it. On this show, we have talked a lot about our hopes and dreams for Owosakun and Detmer to finally show us that they're more than just friends. So my hope hype is that I think this season there might be a love triangle because maybe it's not just Owosakun and Detmer, but maybe, like at the end of season 3 when Owosakun and Jet Reno were fixing that dot 23. Maybe there. I don't know. Like people, I mean, that awkward awaking of like, you're alive, you're alive. And then Owosakun looks at everybody else like, you all are alive. Like, what is that, Joan? I want to know. I'm here for it. So that's my thing. Claudia, hope and hype about Dr. Pollard. What's up, Dr. Pollard?
Dr. Pollard, I'm still with Jet Reno, and you gave me a whole new ship with Jet Reno and Owosakun. I'm like, I am there now. It's Joan and Jet. It's Joan and Jet. I'm back. Dr. Pollard. We love us some Dr. Pollard. You know what? I'm excited for Dr. Pollard to have more than funny one-liners. Like we love us some Dr. Pollard, but Dr. Pollard has been there for the flavor, and I want the entire meal. I want some stories that actually center this character and have this character have to do something that impacts the plot in a major way. More Dr. Pollard, please. Stat. It's a medical term. All right. Maya. Maya, could you get us a little hype or a little hope for the character that you are honoring with your hairstyle?
Yes, I
Jojo.
mean, Giorgio, supposedly she's gone. I mean, it was I feel very, I will remember you, with Giorgio. But she's not dead, and we've seen that we can go back and forth in time and all this other stuff. So Section 31, I feel like we're either gonna get a little something of Giorgio in that, or maybe some flashbacks. I mean, she can't be fully gone. She's been with us since the beginning, and yeah, I think we need a little bit more of Giorgio before we're fully ready to let go. So, and Dela, what about Mama Gabrielle Burnham?
Yes, yes. I'm super excited and hopeful. As we keep going, I just want to say thanks to everybody in the chat. What's up, Satterfield? All the predictions, wanting Tilly to get a promotion, want to see the trills, like all the things you're adding. Thank you so much. Super excited. Here's what I want to say. I'm so glad Mama Burnham is in season 4. I hope she's in season 4. I saw the Quatmalat fighters in the trailer. She also said to Burnham, you know where to find me now. She's been waiting to say that to her daughter for probably a millennia plus, right? Given all the time travel equations. I'm just excited. My big hope and hype for Mama Burnham is that we just get to see her again. I'd love to see her wield a sword. I would love to maybe see some Mama Burnham, Baby Burnham fight together. We got to see that. We got to see Giorgio and Burnham fight. Could we see Gabrielle and Michael fight? Like that would be super dope. So I just want to say, like, there's so much in this season. We want to keep honoring. I'm gonna bring this hope or hype section to an end and just say there are folks that we did not get to. We didn't get to talk about Jet Reno. So I want to know, do folks in our chat or in our Twitter or in our Instagram, what's your hope or hype for Jet Reno? What about Lieutenant Reese? What about Lieutenant Rice? Lieutenant Reese? What about Lieutenant Bryce? Right? And then, of course, the silver fox, that is Admiral Vance. So we just say there's all these folks that are still here. And I know we didn't get to Adira's boyfriend, Gray. Don't worry, we're about to talk about him. But I just want to say thanks to everybody for this new segment, Hope or Hype.
And we want to give a shout out to all our podcast subscribers. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for following us at the Apple, Google, and Spotify podcasts, liking and subscribing your little hearts out for all of our podcasts where you can stream them back and forward. And this next one will be there too.
And as we head into our next musical break, I am bringing you Trek Table question number 2. Will Adira's boyfriend, Gray, find a corporeal form this season? Like, is Gray going to get solid? And if yes, how do you think the Disco family will help to make this happen?
Mira que regresa el maldito. Viene con las manos llenitas de piedra que no quiere arrojar.
All right, so here we are with Trek Table question number 2. Will Adira's boyfriend, Gray, find a corporeal form this season? Gray is the Trill character that is the past life to a certain extent of Adira, but also the past partner to Adira, which is very complicated for Trills, and was made visible through some kind of technology when they went to visit the family, as the planet, when they were trying to figure out the mystery of the burn. So, Dayla, I'm wondering, what are your forecasts for season 4? Is Gray going to get solid? And if so, how is Disco Fam going to make it happen?
I definitely think that Gray's going to become solid. I feel like it was a promise. I also heard on the Star Trek Day promo panel with Ian Alexander and Wilson Cruz and Blue Del Barrio. We heard Wilson Cruz say for sure that they fulfill this promise. So I just want to give that spoiler. The promise will be fulfilled. It's about how. So my how is, I don't know. We're in gesture tech right now. We can gesture to get a phaser in our hand or to get our tricorders going. I'm just curious how they might be able to combine some of that world building Dr. Isa, the mom of Sukal, did with, and all this tech we have yet to actually meet that we're 1,000 years almost in the future and we haven't seen it all yet. So my thing is like, I don't know, can they make a mini? I don't know the science yet. I'm excited for them to tell me.
Well, I already knew that they were going to be able to make a projection, a hologram, solid, and for you to be able to have a real relationship with them because of Voyager. But it was all that stuff that happened on Sukhal that opened up the possibilities of somebody who lives inside you internally being visible and external and able to live. I thought that was fascinating. Mayo, do you think Gray is going to get solid?
Solid. Yes. Gray is, I mean, we've got the mycelial network that, being reborn that way for Hugh. I mean, we also have programmable matter in this future. We have all kinds of fun things to work with. So I think, I mean, it's definitely going to be helpful to Adira and Gray's relationship, not being so on top of each other, So I think it'll be helpful for them to have a little bit of space so they can come together as well. And I'm excited for it. It sounds like it's gonna be. I just know, like, anything I imagine is not there. It's just gonna be something else. It's gonna be a hard left when I see it. But I do imagine it happening.
I can't wait to talk about this in future episodes so that we can talk about the relationship dynamics of having a relationship with somebody who's so intimate they're inside of you. That is complicated, and I can't wait to get into it. Thank you, Discovery, for giving us that juicy stuff to talk about. And thank you, Maya, for giving me something to have in my head canon until the episodes air next week. deeply excited about that. Now, you've already gotten my opinion about this. I definitely think Ray is going to get solid, and I am curious about how they're gonna pull it off. I'm excited about what you just said about programmable matter. I'm also thinking about in Picard, there's some very interesting and curious ways people have become corporeal again, and there might be something from Picard, some plot lines. We already have the Qual Malat. I don't know what you call them yet, but like the we don't lie awesome fighters, we already have that from Picard, so there might be some resurrection technology that we might get from that series as well.
I love that. And as we come to the end of this section, I just want to say that we are super grateful to be able to share our insights and thoughts. And we just want to invite folks again to support Trek Table. Visit us on patreon.com/Trek Table. Sign up to support. We are so excited to give you these insights as season 4 rolls out.
And that brings us to a close for Trek Table question number 2.
And that was Matanzas by Quetzal. So now we're here at our next installment of Disco Recap. Claudia, you get a 1 minute to tell us what you tell other people about disco. Brandon, please set 1 minute on the timer. Ready?
Incoming transmission.
So generally, I don't tell people why they should be hype about something. I tell them why I'm hype about it. And like, if they're into the things I'm into, then they will be. So the reasons why I am hype about this show is that it rewards a rewatch. This is a show I've watched this show 4 times already. First viewing, it was pretty good. I wasn't mad at it. It was fine. Second, I was like, oh, wait a second, this is really good. There's all this stuff I missed. How was that possible? This is so good. Third time, it was even better. It was like I don't even know how to describe it. I just know you can watch this show over and over again and it just keeps getting better, and I love that about Discovery. It's a great show for people who have never discovered Star Trek. Like, it fills you in on all of the vocabulary that you need to know, but it's also a great show for people who are old school Trekkers like myself, who are OG Trekkers. So like, this show has got a little bit of something for everybody, and I recommend it for groups to watch. 1 minute is not long enough.
For real.
And thanks, Claudia. I now want to watch it again from your perspective. So we also want to thank you all listening and watching. So head to trektable.com to get your first looks of Trek Table questions, inside scoops, and more when you sign up for our mailing list at trektable.com.
And now is that special time on the Trek Table podcast where we have a Star Trek dance break. Get in your Star Trek moves, y'all.
A shift, a move, a surge, we feel and manifest. Slide from uncertainty and launch it to intent. Interminable imaginaries guided by ancestor strength. Abide by no one's government. We below into the left more. We see more. Whose life is this more?
Awesome, and welcome back to this episode 32 of the Trek Table. We are in the thematics portion of our show today, just working our way through this hype show. All right, so we have 2 big topics today. We're going to talk about overall plot and theme of season 4. Looking forward to that. And then we're just going to jump in and talk a little bit about design. What do we think about what's coming in terms of uniforms and costumes and the worlds we're about to see and build? Also, any new tech we think we might get to see. We were certainly just talking about some of that in Trek Table questions. So I want to just jump in with this question number one. This first thought about, as we think about this overall plot and theme of season four. Certainly, found family is a big theme for the show. Certainly, diverse leadership is something that we see all the time. The very first episode of season four is entitled Kobayashi Maru, and so for those of us who are not new to Star Trek, you might recognize that because that was the captain's test at the Starfleet Academy that was given to captains, kind of a no-win situation in the Abrams universe. We also got to see it was as Brandon, our production coordinator, said, it was the Spock's unfair final captain test. So we're not quite sure. Maybe we're gonna see an origin of Kobayashi Maru. Maybe we're gonna see the real thing. I don't know. So all the things. But I'm just curious as we think about plot items and theme items. The Emerald Chain is gone. We know there's a gravitational anomaly that's coming up this season. We know that Burnham is captain, and some stuff goes on in that trailer. We see the Quap Malat show up. I think that's how you say it. So I'm gonna jump to Maya. Any overall ideas, hopes, or hypes? I mean, we're kind of in thematics now, but what are you thinking about this season four? What are you looking forward to?
I mean, yes. I mean, yeah, Burnham's in the captain chair, but there's going to be tests in different ways, you know. She was often almost testing her own captains a lot, and so now she's the going to be on the receiving end of that. But they've built a really great team. You know, they were able to come together in so many different ways at the end. You know, they never leave anybody behind. So, I think there's going to be more of that, and more of them probably getting separated, and oh no, how are we going to get back to you, and how are we going to bring us all back together? So lots of being pulled apart in order to come back together. And yeah, I don't know, like I just know that I'm going to be surprised.
Mm.
I'm trying to still unpack that trailer of like, wait, what's happening there, is that, oh no, that looks bad. So that's
Mhm.
what I got for
Awesome.
now.
I feel for you. I'm also curious if Saru and President Tarina from Navarre are going to hang out again. They both kind of said before they left each other, I liked hanging out with you. I liked walking with you too. Maybe a long term. Okay, we'll talk later. So, yes, I'm going to
Long
throw that.
distance.
I'm going to pepper that in because President Trina, she always has really great, I love her collar line. So, Claudia, your thoughts or hopes, hypes, predictions about season four, plot lines and themes, where are you at?
All right, so I'll be honest. At the end of season three, I was really hoping to experience a season that had no big bad and was going to give me more of a next generation experience of adventures that allowed me to get a feel for the universe and where I was. That's not what this show is. This show gives you story. This show gives you plot. The show is designed in a way where it has to have a big bad. So I am curious about what will the big bad be, given that their last big bad was like a super intelligent computer that could end the entire universe. So that's exciting, right? And then their last big bad was so existential. So I'm very curious about that and excited. I'm anticipating a lot of plot lines that are about growing into leadership and healing from trauma. And I'm excited to have a show that's giving me some female leadership stories. I feel like we're going to get some storylines and ways of dealing with conflict and trauma that we actually haven't gotten before, a different flavor, a different shape. So that should be pretty cool.
Thank you for that. And you're reminding me that season one and two, we have Admiral Cornwell, who was on the show, who was part of our world, who was another one of
Mhm.
those major Federation Starfleet leadership figures for us. And then, spoiler zone in effect. She passed away at the end of season two in that big battle. So now there's been a void, and we got Admiral Vance last season, which is super awesome, and I'm super fascinated by him. But I'm curious what this new president of the Federation will bring us and what she gets. Just to share some notes that are happening in the chat, Brandon's wondering, is Burnham gonna get assigned her own Burnham? Are we still gonna talk about Burnham as the responsibility hoarder? Because I would say Discovery as a whole is the responsibility hoarder. It's not just Burnham. Everybody on that ship, everybody on that ship is a responsibility hoarder. Tilly's having a moment after she tells Book and all them to like go and liberate the ship, and he's like, I'm gonna stay here, and she's like, but I have a good plan. He's like, I know, I believe you. I'm gonna stay and help you do that thing. So just these moments of just loving that this show is about thinking about how we can be accountable as leaders or responsible. Like when a group of really high performing people who care about what they do and they care about making good things happen in the universe, what does that look like and who are
Mm,
those folks? So I just want to say thanks to that. It's another thing to uphold in the chat. Satterfield is letting us know the title of the first show suggests death. Maybe might not be the
mm,
death of a character, maybe the death of a family or the crew breaking
mm,
apart. So
mhm.
lots there. All right, so I'm gonna have us transition into this next question, final question for thematics today. Any hope or hype, excited things about design or tech? We get to see these new uniforms. We're getting to see some new things. We've been in this universe, in this time period in the universe, but we're about to go into some outer planets. We heard at the end of 3, Admiral Vance say to Burnham, Discovery is going to be able to bring dilithium from this planet in the nebula. You're going to help us bridge out to all those pre-warp worlds. You're going to do some Starfleet business for us. So I'm curious, folks, as we get into this potential of season 4, design hopes, fashion hopes, tech hopes. Claudia, I'm going to come to you first.
I am hungry for definitely some lot fights. Like I think that their entire deal is interesting and different, and I want to see gigantic battle scenes with a lot of them. I'm excited about that, and I feel like I'm going to get it from this show. I am excited for more short skirts. They never give me enough short skirts. I want more leg. I'm excited for more dream vacation spots. Pavu, was it Pavu? Was that the name of the
Pavo.
planet?
Mm-hmm.
Pavo. Oh my lord. Like for a while, Riza was like a place in my brain where I was like, sometimes if I was just feeling bad and tired, I'd be like, maybe I could just go there sometime. But now that's my new dream spot. Season 4, I'm hoping it's just giving me more amazing places, not only for head canon, but for like cosplay canon, as I imagine myself in the future just playing in the Star Trek universe. Yeah, so those are some of the things I have hypes and hopes about for season 4.
You make me want to do a vacation icon package for Pavo, the yurts on Pavo. Rent your own, Airbnb your own Pavo yurts. And in some new asynchronous content that's going to go up for Trek Table, Maya Mama and I get into a long distance Star Trek fight about the best Burnham and Ash Tyler kiss, but we'll save that for that video. All right. Thank you, Claudia, for giving us some of that. Maya Chichia, thoughts for you. Where are you in the design world of season 4? What are some of your hopes and hypes and feelings?
I mean, I want to know a little bit more about. Don't we have a new computer voice? So I think
Mhm.
that's going to be interesting. Where that where that takes us. We just saw a little bit of it. I think with the robots with the dots.
Mhm.
So also. They've got those transporters now, personal transporters. What about, and I don't know if this has already been done before, just go with me on this, personal portable replicators, so you can just, I mean, you need a snack, like when you're on an away mission or, you need something else. Maybe they have that so they could build a little ship when they need it, or like some roller skates to roller skate away. But also just the design too of the clothing and accessories. I mean, Gersha Phillips has really each time has come up with something a little bit new. The textures of the fabrics are very fashion forward, and not a whole lot of no zippers anymore, and yeah, so I'm excited to see that what's going to happen. I mean, again, in honor of Giorgio, she had her big old emperor, beautiful gold and black and red, and then she had, of course, her her relaxed, her chill Giorgio leather outfits. So yeah, maybe more 3D modeling in the costume design.
I love it. You're making me think about personal replicators. It made me wonder: is programmable matter edible? We had that moment
She had
in
a bunch in her mouth.
Yeah, she did. She came out of the hard drive room, right? So I'm just curious. I mean, she spit it out. She did not eat it, but maybe she swallowed one. I don't know. So those things I'm wondering. And then I just want to see more of the necklines from President Trina from Navarre. I really realized in rewatching she had some of my favorite scoops in the whole series. And then yeah, I would agree. House of Gersha. I really want to know, Gersha Phillips, what's coming this season? What are you and your team about to give us? And thank you, yes, production design. I want to see it all, and I am super looking forward to all the gesture tech that we get, and how if you slap your hand down, you get a phaser. If you do this other thing, you get a tricorder. If you you get to leave. So personal transporter. So I'm excited about all those things as well, and I'm just so excited that we get to do this. So no spoilers on today in thematics, but thank you, Claudia and Maya, for these thoughts about it.
And that brings us to our final Trek Table question of this episode. My friends, what's your theory on how empaths like Cleveland Booker know how to fly through the mycelial network? How do they communicate, navigate through it all? Let's do some headcanon, friends.
Mira que regresa el maldito. Viene con las manos llenitas de piedra que no quiere arrojar.
Welcome back. So here we are with Trek Table question number 3. What's your theory on how empaths like Cleveland Booker know how to fly through the mycelial network? As we know, Stamets was the only one, and Stamets could only do it because he got some of that tardigrade DNA put in him in a way that the Star Trek universe says is a naughty no-no, doing that genetic manipulation. But Booker comes from an entire race of people who have this genetic ability. We've seen that Cleveland could do it. Others could too. What are we thinking about this? What are we forecasting? Maya, what do you think about Book flying the ship?
You know, what's interesting is when I remembered it at first, I thought, oh, all of them from his species are able to. But I think at the very beginning, he mentions that he has like a genetic difference. So, you know, maybe there's not as many people. But so at first I was like, oh, we just need to get more empaths involved here. But yeah, so that sort of put a monkey in my wrench thinking about that. But also that we literally have Book ended last season with him, you know, helping showing his empathic powers to Burnham when after their first meet, when they finally decide to not fight as much, you know, that maybe they're going to work together, and then at the very end it's like, they brought that back. That was that, you know, we need somebody else who can help fly the ship sometimes, because, you know, if it's just one person, then, you know, Stamets isn't always going to be available. He might have some space daddy duties. So that's what I think about that.
I'm just now realizing that there are lots of empathic species. One of the running storylines on Star Trek: The Next Generation was Troy gets attacked by some empathic species that attacks her through their brains and telepathy. So I'm wondering if there are other species as well that could also do this. Now that the burn is over and they have the ability to connect all these planets, like maybe the Betazoids could also fly one of these. Who the heck knows? But I still completely understand how it works. What do you think, Dayla?
I appreciate that. I was thinking about Deanna Charles, like, dude, Deanna Troy could like put her fingers in the microgel and go. So yeah, that made me happy for a minute. Yes, yes. Yeah, sorry. I'm just gonna stop because now I want to do a really bad Deanna Troy imitation, and I will not do it justice. So respect, Marina Sirtis. I'm not gonna do it. But here's what I am gonna do. I am gonna say that I did get to rewatch the end of season 3, and I was really struck by Aurelio talking about the scientist Aurelio from the Emerald Chain, talking about how there are lots of Claudia, almost exactly what you just said. There are lots of empaths, and there is something about the way that Book connects versus, you know, he says Stamets needs the tardigrade DNA, and he's got a plan already on how to grow it. So maybe that's some of my question about the tech of Star Trek season 4 is like, this emerald chain scientist was ready to grow some tardigrade DNA so they could make more humans like Stamets. So part of me is like, what does it mean to engage with, empaths who already exist? And I love that we're going to get spectrums of what kind of empaths exist, because I do, as somebody who is empathetic and an empath in the shape that I am and the form I am, it's really amazing to meet different people who are empath centered or who are empath aware and who are connected to their feelings and the feelings of others, and not in a mind reading kind of way, but just in a spiritual presence or a emotional centered kind of way. So I'm kind of excited to see, and then just the space manicure of Book having to put his hands in the new interface that Adira designed. And like Adira made that interface. So I'm excited. It's all love.
As always, our Trek table questions, after we've answered them, I'm left with so many. Well, this time I'm actually left with more questions. Usually I'm just left with like really good answers. This time I have more questions, but that's the point. I've got a lot of questions about what's coming up. I'm super excited. Thank you all for joining us for our Trek table questions for this season 4 hype show.
And that was Matanzas by Quetzal. So here's our next and I think final installment of Disco Recap. So Dela, now it's your turn. 1 minute to share your disco hype. Brandon, please set 1 minute on the timer.
Incoming transmission.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay. So usually I connect with folks. I would agree with you, Claudia. I do try to hype people to what I love. Once people let me tell them that I like Star Trek Discovery, and they ask me why, usually what I'll say is, if you're social justice oriented, if you're about building communities and connecting to people, if you know about intersectionality and critical race theory, and it's something that you're not afraid of, but that you actually want to embrace because you want to see our whole humanity, this is a show for you. This is a show that centers women of color, queer folks, queer people of color, women-centered leadership, non-toxic masculinity leadership. This is a show for folks who care about thinking about imperialism, anti-colonialism, and transformation. This is a show that allows us to think about groups and how leadership is modeled and shared. And for women of color leaders who are always putting in the hard work, this is a show that shows us a heroine, a hero, who is not a responsibility hoarder, but who is on her path and truth.
Woo!
That's what I would say. All right, we are back with our final thoughts today. Super excited. Brandon's got up on the screen. 11/18/21 is when this new episode, season 4, episode 1, Kobayashi Maru, when it goes live for folks. This is our hype show for season 4 here on the Trek Table. We're super excited. We're going to share final thoughts. I'm going to ask us to remember these are shorter thoughts. I know we just did a really amazing gathering of some of our thoughts about lots of things. I'm just excited now. I feel super giddy because I'm like, we're about to talk about Star Trek for the next 11 weeks. All right, Claudia, sorry, just kidding. I'm so excited. I'm gonna ask Maya to go first, and Maya, you have a final thought, but before you share it, I just want to say, what's up, Rose Portillo? Welcome to the chat. So happy that you've joined us today. Thank you so much. Rose, who was a guest on our show last season, and if you check our website, you can see all of our guests from last season. All right, so final thoughts. I got so excited. Maya Chinchilla, can you share your final thoughts for us on this season 4 hype show?
I mean, the main thought I have is it's finally here. I have been having so much fun in our pandemic times and the transitions, being isolated and a little less isolated, being able to go through this experience of watching Star Trek Discovery in these here times. And now, we get to see what they've done since in the between times. So, we've just been building up to it, and I'm so excited. I mean, we got to watch season 3 along with season 3, but now we're going to watch season 4 like as it happens. And yeah, I'm just yeah, super curious what they did in this time, and how our times have influenced this future imagining of this teams working together, and also different ways of doing things than in the past for Star Trek.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Maya. Claudia, your final thought today on Star Trek's Discovery Season 4 hype show.
I have so many thoughts. None of them are final, but I will say this. Cultural productions help us to understand what culture is. Our storytellers are literally telling us the story of our lives. And these large stories that are created and distributed on a mass scale, they allow me to experience stories with other people. So it helps me to connect with people from a distance. And it feels like Discovery is allowing us to process a lot of trauma that we are experiencing in real time. I feel like there are folks in that writer's room that are being real thoughtful about what's happening politically, what's happening with health, what's happening just with all of this, and are creating stories that I can watch and heal through. So I'm excited to watch and process the trauma of living in the United States right now and have a healing, enjoyable experience watching this show. Also, how do we do an entire show where we didn't mention that the ship is like super sentient, and there might be some stuff with that in season 4?
Yes, I love it. I believe in the short trek, her name is Zora. So is this
Exactly. When does she get
where we start to
named?
ideate? Exactly. Where does she name herself? Amazing. Thank you so much, Claudia. And thank you so much, Maya. All right, here I go. My final thoughts. What's up, everybody? The other thing I haven't mentioned that I talked to the team about as we came back into prep for today's show. Is anybody else thinking there? I mean, is anyone else thinking there might be a pregnant Captain Burnham in this season? I'm curious. We've never had a pregnant captain or Starfleet officer. I will just say I'm having a canon blank moment, but I invite Claudia or any other canon fam to remind me, are there other examples of a pregnant commander or captain leading, running stuff in the ensemble? So I'm super excited about that. I'm also super excited that we're just gonna get to see more. How does Tilly get developed? How does Burnham, yeah, now that Burnham has settled into being in the captain's chair, this thing that she hasn't wanted yet. Who will she get to be, and how will this allow her to exhale? I think that's one of the things. And just really excited that after she and Book got to say, I love you, that he's not gone. And that this is not a story about her having to manage another tragic relationship or a loss. So, of course, there is conflict. Of course, there are things to discuss, but I'm super excited about seeing this amazing Black woman, magical scientist leader continue to try to show us new ways to be. And the last thing I want to say is just hearing. I was doing some more deep dive stuff on all the back issue, all the Star Trek content, and just really being struck that Wilson Cruz was also saying kind of what you were saying, Claudia and Maya, is just that we're in these times. And so the writers are paying attention. And he did dedicate this season to all of the medical officers who have been still holding it down. So I just want to say thank you to all the folks who are first responders in all the ways that you are, even if you're first responding to your family, to your friends, if you're there for them, right? This is a show about found family. So I would just honor that. The last couple things I want to do as we close out these final thoughts. First of all, I want to say we did not do a signal boost today, which is our usual practice, because we were hyping this show coming season 4. But we want to say, as we jump into the show next week, we are looking for women of color content creators, world builders, change makers. If you would like us to amplify what they're doing, help get the word out about them, we would love to do that. So please go ahead and share that with us on our socials. Tag us, let us know this is a great thing to hype up. We want to definitely do that. And before we get out of this segment, I have to say happy birthday to Whoopi Goldberg, aka Guinan. I just gotta say it, like, Guinan, thank you. you saved a certain part of my heart in Next Generation
Mm.
and made me understand that a bar could be a good place. So that is my final thought. And these are our thoughts for the Star Trek Discovery Season 4 Hype Show.
We hope that you will be able to join us on November 21st when we talk about Season 4, Episode 1 of Star Trek Discovery, Kobayashi Maru.
All right, and we are in the part of our show known as gratitude. We want to say thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of Trek Table today. Go ahead and take a first look at our Trek Table questions, inside scoops, and more when you sign up for our mailing list. Find out about our guests and our hosts at trektable.com.
You can find Trek Table Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Also, you can like and subscribe to us on Instagram at Trek Table and on Twitter at Trek_table.
Yes, yes. And you know, the tribbles must be in the Jeffrey tubes, or maybe there's some Rough Riders left from Zara's crew. Maya was muted there a little bit. Can we hear you now, Maya? I'm gonna there she is. Go ahead, Maya. Oh, we did all the things. I want to say welcome back. So glad we can hear you because it's super important. I'm just gonna say what I finally want to say thank you. That's why we're happy you're back, Maya. We can hear you. You can hear us. I want to say thank you so much to this Trek Table assembled. Thank you, Claudia, Alec. Thank you, Maya Chinchilla, for sharing your opinions, coming back out of our vacations, and getting us hype and lots of hopes for season 4. Thank you so much. As we get ready to close this ritual for today, we want to loop back to what we said we were holding Trek Space for at the top of the show. Today, we're holding Trek Space for all the Michael Burnham, Disco fans, Colbert fans, and all the fans who have been waiting for the start of season 4. It is almost here. We are also holding Trek Space for the pleasure of anticipation and for what is next, what is new, and we cannot wait, and it starts next week. The Trek Table executive producers are Allison Dela Cruz and Luzmi Minajariwala. Our production coordinator is Brendan Chang. Our stream manager, Ariana Michelle. Social media manager, Isil Borlasa. And our social media associate, Jimena Martinez.
Deep, deep gratitude and thanks to Outside In Theater, with extra thanks to Paul, Matt, Jessica, Danny, and Tamlin.
And thanks to Dr. Deborah Carter, Doc Zulu, and Nancy Yap, and our partners at Visual Communications.
Yes, yes, and the Trek Table would love to say thank you to our content partners at Calling Up Justice. Thanks, Claudia. Thanks, Maya Mama. And of course, thanks, Callie.
And just so you know, Trek Table is a service mark of De La Projects, LLC.
All right, y'all. I'm super excited. This ritual got me hype. I'm so excited to see season 4, episode 1. I want to close this ritual for us today. Feel this music behind us from Quetzal and go ahead and ground yourself. Take one more big breath in. And exhale. All right, we hope you're going to join us next Sunday, November 21st, here on the Outside In YouTube channel as we watch Season 4, Episode 1 of Star Trek Discovery. We will be discussing it here on the Trek Table. And, you know, we're going to be holding Trek Space for you until then. Catch it on Paramount+. See us next Sunday. Have a great week, everybody.